Do you like to binge watch TV? Did you know you could binge listen to podcasts? Head over to electronicmediacollective.com, where they have podcasts for days. You like podcasts about wrestling? They have that. Do you like podcasts about TV and film? They have that. Do you like podcasts about horror? EMC has that too. Do you like comedy? Do you like books? Guess what? They've got you covered. Head over to electronicmediacollective.com. Pick your favorite podcast today.
Hey, y'all, this is Lou Temple. You know me as Axel from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Moose's Monster Mash.
You're listening to Moose's Monster Mash.
Welcome, horror hounds, to an all-new episode of Moose's Monster Mash. I'm your host, Moose, and we're bringing back a friend of the show, a friend of mine, and a rising independent filmmaker who is potentially on the cusp of brilliance. Please welcome back creator of the Babezilla franchise, Mr. AJ Chambers.
Hello.
How's life been?
Oh, it's been good. A little crazy. Things are getting out of hand with the filmmaking business here. The Babezilla versus the Cyber Skanks has taken off, and
It really has been.
now taking on a Stephen C. Apostolopf and Ed Wood movie sequel.
Yeah,
Almost said remake.
You're picking up a sequel that's, 60 years?
It is 60 years this year.
You know, so it's a little long overdue for a sequel, but you announced you're doing Orgy of the Dead 2.
Yes, and it's kind of, I hate to use the word remake, and I didn't want it to be a remake, so I set it up to where it's like a sequel, but it's like it's very similar in format to the original, but completely different at the same time. And I want it to be a really good movie, not boring at all. Because, while dancing naked ladies is entertaining for a minute, it's not feature length.
An hour and a half of it gets to be a little,
yeah.
It wears on you.
Yeah, for sure.
And this, the original written by, Ed Wood and directed by Stephen Apostolopf. It's funny, you look back and it's labeled as erotic horror.
Yeah.
And just that genre, erotic horror. You're like, what the fuck is that? What does erotic horror mean?
It's I always saw it as it's just another nudie cutie movie for sure. It's like at that time they just needed a reason to. They couldn't just say this is a dancing naked lady movie. They had to have a spin on it.
Yeah, I mean it's an hour and a half striptease with a little bit of, it's a Halloween themed striptease is what it is.
Yeah,
and that's okay. It is what it is. It's got some interesting story elements to it.
Yeah.
It is interesting that this movie has developed like a cult following.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it, and watching it now and watching it when I was younger, you get two completely different takes on it. When you're younger, you're like, oh, okay, this is a fun movie. You're watching it now, and you're like, this could have been a lot shorter of a movie.
Yeah. And it the storyline is very short. And the acting is what gets me the most, where it's like the dialogue doesn't match the acting at all. He's saying, calm down, and the girl's just sitting there not doing anything that she needs to do anything to calm down about.
Well, I mean, that's honestly some of the greatest things about this movie is the inconsistencies. If you watch at the very beginning when they're when Bob and his wife are going through the desert.
Yeah.
They're driving at night.
Yes.
And then it's a day shot.
Yes.
And then they zoom in on the car, and the car's a different color. And his wife's hair is a different color. And
so
it's just, honestly, in this genre that eventually, that Ed Wood worked in, and then Trauma kind of like embodied. Those are the things I really enjoy. Just those little quirks in a movie that are like, all right, this is where it kind of becomes like a horror comedy,
Yeah.
Where they're not, they're aware they're not trying, and it makes it fun.
Actually, that day and night thing, I got the inside scoop on that, and it was supposed to be a day for night shot, which is where they film at day, but they turn it into night at post. And they had the notes on it that said turn this into a day for night shot, and they just didn't catch it. Like the editors just missed it completely. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have the characters later like Mummy and Wolfman.
Yeah.
And
out of nowhere.
Wolfman was great because he had like this perfectly coiffed mane. Like he screamed 60s Wolfman.
Yeah.
Like all he needed was like a leather jacket, and he would have been like a rockabilly Wolfman because he had like the slick back mane, everything. It was great.
And you could tell it's just a mask. It's not even makeup. It's a mask. It's great. And then the voice for the Mummy was weird because it was like recorded separately, obviously, and then played back on some old reel-to-reel or something. I don't know.
I say the Mummy's voice was like an old reel-to-reel, and then the werewolf and Wolfman was like this high-pitched, like almost effeminate howl. So like the voices didn't match the characters, and it's fun to go back and watch these, and it's really great. If you watch Chris Will at the beginning, you can see him reading his lines in the opening scene. I love it.
And he was drunk.
That's what I love about this genre of film. I mean, there's so many little things that make it, camp for camp's sake.
Yeah.
And make it lovable.
Yeah, even if you're trying to make an honest-to-God movie, if you don't have a huge budget, if you have a time restriction, things happen to where that shit's just going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the budget for this is $10,000.
Yeah, and that's, like, when you're shooting on film, that was probably mostly film stock.
Yeah. So and luckily, they didn't have to spend that much on location, because it was all one location, really.
Yeah.
Outside, aside from some pickup spots.
That set was already built for another movie that got canceled.
Well, so they saved a lot of money.
They didn't really have to put anything into that.
So, what drew you to want to do a sequel to this movie?
Well, I was watching it. Okay, so I had been seeing a lot of people getting older movies that like the rights to make a sequel to, like a lot of indie filmmakers, like in my world, Mercedes the Muse is making a sequel to Poultrygeist. There's this guy who's making a sequel to Redneck Zombies, and those were both Trauma movies, and I thought, well, I could probably do that. I should do that. And then me and my buddy Tony, we were watching this movie one night, and I was like, man, I wonder who owns the rights to this fucking Ed Wood movie, because it is written by Ed Wood, but it's not directed by him. And I knew that meant I don't know if I knew that it meant that, but I wanted to find out who owned it, because we could easily make this like, it's just dancing naked ladies. That's
it's themed dancing naked ladies.
Yeah, and that'd be easy. And I'm not going to do it exactly like the original. I'm going to add a lot more to it. I want a lot more comedy. I want some gore aspects. I want, they're not just going to be like pristine, beautiful women. They're going to be beautiful women who have, gnarly ways of dying. Those, if they were burned, they're going to have burns on them, If they were cut, they're going to have the cuts on them, stuff like that. So, like, I want it to be gory and funny and sexy. It's kind of like how I make all my movies is like, it's sexy, but I want you to be uncomfortable at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like, I don't want you to be able to get off to this. I want it to be
I'm not making a damn porn.
Exactly. This would be easy for us to do. It would be fun as hell, and it's straight up my alley, you know? Like, so I just went for it. And it took a while, but I figured out who owned it and got the rights.
Well, and like, what all did you have to do to get the rights for it? Like, was it just as simple as, a few emails and sign some paperwork, or?
Kind of. It took quite a few emails. So there's no easy way to find out who owned it. The studio that made it is gone. This was 60 years ago, so most of the people involved are gone. And so what I was doing was I was going to distributors, people that I knew were distributing the original movie. And I was asking them if they knew who the rights owner was. And I had to have gone through at least 15, 20 people. It took almost a month or more of talking to people that I finally found a guy that a distributor said, this is the guy that we go through. And I asked him, do you own the rights to this movie? And he's like, no, but he's a good friend of mine and I'll send him a message. So I said, okay. And I waited a while and I get an email from Christopher Apostolopf. And I was like, no way. I didn't even think to look for a kid.
Right.
Like, that's his son. Obviously. And then, he got a hold of me. He said he was interested in hearing what I had to say, and I gave him a script and, pitched the idea, pitched who I am, as a filmmaker. And then, we just did a little contract and we're going to make a movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
On the rewatch and, having watched your other films, this is definitely something that's right up your alley.
Yeah.
It occurred to me that it'd be fun to, kind of theme the women, like the deaths around like the 7 deadly sins and stuff like that. It'd also be really easy to do.
Yeah.
Because, there were a couple of them that were easily, gluttony and lust, and it was already there in the original. When you're talking, this is essentially going to be like a soft remake, because there isn't really a way to do a direct sequel. Just it's more of a spirited sequel.
Yeah, it's basically like 60 years later, it happened again. And obviously we don't have Criswell, so the Emperor is a different guy, but it's basically the same idea. And it's not the husband and wife or whatever. It's going to be like a group of young adults who are out partying, drinking and driving and having a good time. And they're the ones who end up mixed up in the orgy.
So I haven't looked. Do you have someone in mind for your Emperor yet, or?
Yes. It's Mike Fantastik from Smoke Break.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I got a bunch of audition tapes, and a lot of people, most people just imitated Criswell, and Mike just did his thing, and he was the one that made me really laugh. I was fucking belly laughing at his audition tape. So, and I know he's a funny guy. I know he could just come up with something on the fly if he needed to. If he thought something was funny to say, he'll say it. So yeah, I just feel like he's the best one. I mean, look at the look of him too. He's just got that. He's got that comedy look.
Well, and the whole movie has this feel of like a Greek bacchanal.
Yes.
So to have somebody like Mike play the Emperor really makes sense, because he has that Dionysus vibe going too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I that'll be really fun to see, and I'm really happy for Mike.
Yeah.
So who else have you cast so far?
Okay, I got Jessa Flux. She's very big in the indie film industry. So Penny Aphrodite. She is newer to the indie scene, but she's in some movies that have already been filmed and they're coming up. and she is going to be our princess of the night. And yeah, I think she's going to do great at it. For one of the boys, that's the youngsters. Okay, both of the boys actually. I've got Nick Summers, who is local. He's been in some like theater productions like that. And Adam Peltier. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he was the lead in Lloyd Kaufman's newest movie.
Oh, nice.
And he was the hardest working actor I've ever seen, man. They were running him ragged on that trauma set. Jamie Schroeder is a local who is going to be one of the other kind of like the youngster, teenage, wild kids. She's going to be like our cheerleader type. It's going to be fun. Then Mike Ross, who we're actually shooting most of the film
down
at
at
the
his
graveyard of
haunt.
his haunt.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's already I'd say 70% ready for us to go. Like we got to do some extra stuff there. I want to crucify the kids, so we're gonna put them on crosses in the graveyard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then a whole cast full of beautiful women to do our dances and yeah, to break up the monotony, I'm just adding a lot of one-liner comedy type stuff, comments. And another thing that I think was really boring about the original is they just did one wide shot.
Yeah.
Get some close-ups, do some camera fun angles,
To say it was just one wide shot the whole time, and then the dances were super long.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think you need the full dance.
Yeah. So we're gonna do full song dance, but I'm breaking it up with talking in between. They'll be dancing while the other characters are either talking about them or communicating to each other.
Well, and that makes sense because then it's not just again a Halloween themed striptease.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's where the original fell short. It was just like you said, just another excuse to have women dance around topless, and
yeah,
nothing wrong with that if that's what you're going for. But
yeah,
there was a lot more meat on the bone that they could have went after, and it was definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of callbacks to the original too. I'm going to basically be poking fun at it. You got to make fun of it a little bit.
Yeah, you almost have to.
Yeah.
So we're 60 years removed. When do you plan on? Because I know we were talking. You were hoping to have this out this year for the 60-year anniversary. When do you plan on shooting and all that stuff?
We're shooting the last week of July, and I'm hoping to get it out before Halloween or around Halloween.
Nice.
I think that would be a good time to release it.
Yeah.
But if not, definitely by the end of the year, I just have to get it out to have that 60 years later thing.
And to have it as long as it's out in the 2025 year.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. After Orgy of the Dead 2, what do you have planned?
Well, I've got a couple of things. I definitely have to make the third Babezilla because I teased it at the end of Babezilla 2, and there's already people hounding me about that. But I'm also working on a script for a slasher movie that will be St. Patrick's Day themed. And I'm going to call that Corned Beef and Stabbage.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get both of those done next year, or I'm gonna. And the Smoke Break movie, we're gonna work on that throughout this year. We're not gonna just try to get it all done because everybody's local, so we can just do that on the weekends.
That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
You currently have an Indiegogo project campaign running, or?
Yes, there is an Indiegogo out right now for Orgy of the Dead 2. And we're looking to make quite a bit, hopefully, because I want to bring in some outside film crew from the last Trauma movie. These guys did great. They look like a couple of pirate dudes, but they know what they're doing. Their shots were beautiful. And I'd like to get a professional sound guy too. And it's not like my movies were good. They're decent. They're good enough, but I want to take this to the next level.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's a legacy film. It's...
Yeah.
What's your projected budget for this one?
I would like to get 15 to 20,000.
So at least double the original.
Yeah. And if we don't, we're still going to make it. I got to finish my films no matter what. You know, I can't leave anything unfinished. It bothers me.
Where can listeners keep up to date with updates on Orgy of the Dead 2?
There is an Orgy of the Dead 2 Facebook page, or you can follow HojBob Productions on any social media. Well, most social medias, I believe. And you can follow me personally. Just search Andrew J. Chambers or HojBob Productions. You'll find it.
Those links will be in the episode description, and you can find me and other great podcasters over at electronicmediacollective.com. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at Moose's Monster Mash or on YouTube at Moose Media Inc. AJ, glad we were able to sit down and do this. I mean, we talked about it, sometime last month.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to your take on this, because, like I said, this movie is absolutely right up your alley.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
And listeners, go contribute to the Indiegogo. Go check out his other projects, and if you haven't watched Babezilla yet, you probably should. It's available everywhere. And AJ, look forward to the next time you come on.
All right.
And until next time, Horror Hounds, mash on.
This has been Moose's Monster Mash. Come back for more chills and thrills if you dare.